You know, there is no greater journalist or media outlet than WikiLeaks. I know a lot of people say they're controlled opposition. A lot of people think it's all a big farce because a lot of the stuff is unclassified. But again, the unclassified information on WikiLeaks is easier to find than poking around in the cumbersome files that the government sets aside. I mean, if you don't know exactly the name or title of the report or the date or etc., you're never going to find it. And for them to treat a journalist the way they're treating Assange is beyond criminal. Now, whether the whole thing is a hoax, arrest, or like people say, you know, nobody really knows. I mean, it's so interesting that YouTubers will get on the YouTube and hop on the ghost cart saying, "Oh, it's staged event, blah blah blah." Well, they don't really know that. They don't have any inside information. It's just their opinion. And if it's staged events so Julian can have his freedom, so be it. But regardless if events are staged, when they are arresting journalists and suppressing freedom of speech, passing laws anti-freedom of speech, passing unconstitutional laws, or pushing another country's laws on Americans, like the no-hide laws, which have no business in American society, no more than Islamic laws. Because see, what happens is, and this is very tricky, and this is what they do. The Big Nose Tribe. They get, and this is all part of their plot, and it's a reoccurring theme with them, or tactic, I should say, is to get the U.S. Congress. Remember, there are a lot of dual citizens in Congress and the Senate, Supreme Court, to have Jewish laws pushed through to protect the poor Jewish people, because they suffered so much under the guise of, you know, protecting them, or anti-Semitism, that, you know, the fake anti-Semitism that they conspired with other countries to pretend it's out there, so they have to pass laws. So, you know, they get a foreign law written into America and other countries. Then here it comes. The next thing you know, they'll be standing right beside some fake Muslims saying that, well, you let the Jews have their no-hide laws, now you have to let Sharia law in. And this is why we have no-go zones in America. Unbeknownst to the people in America, the Jewish communities are no-go zones, and they govern themselves. And it is because they allowed this to happen that they had to allow no-go Muslim zones. And these no-go Muslim zones could be anything. I mean, they're just called no-go Muslim zones. And this is not to take anybody's side, but by calling it such, you know, they're free to do pretty much whatever they want, and they govern themselves under their own laws. Whether it's an extreme law, where it's a made-up law, we don't know, because it's a no-go zone. And it's all because the Jewish faction, the Jewish extreme faction, got their laws and their wishes put through and now they have to do it for others. So that is part of how they are dismantling America, and we need to get it stopped. And they have to do a video on the no-hide laws, because people aren't really understanding the impact of that unconstitutional law, and once again, our military allowing these things to happen. Our military is not defending us against the domestic enemy. They are not defending us against the domestic enemy that's passing unconstitutional laws, that are treating groups or individuals with special privileges, which in the Constitution it's very clear they cannot do that. The state nor DC. Nor can the state legally put in these pledges to Israel. Because when they're forcing people to make pledges, an oath to Israel about the boycott, or teaching false history about the Holocaust, to teach only the Jewish side of the history, which is not teaching history at all. It's, it's dictatorship, totalitarian, Hitlerism. But anyways, forcing teachers or whatnot to take an oath to Israel that way, those teachers and whomever else they are forcing to take such an oath instantly give up their citizenship in the U.S. according to the Constitution. And when the shit hits the fan, if the shit hits the fan, you can be arrested and thrown in the FEMA camp instantly, because they know who you are, because they force you to make that declaration to another country. And the mere forcing of one to do that is also illegal, which once again, our military has failed us. Which leads me to this statement. The American people, America, we do not have a military. We simply don't have a military that is going to protect the American citizens. We don't have a military that protects the country or the interest of the people. The military is for the use of the president, whomever the president is. Before Trump, it was Bush. It was Obama. Before Obama, it was Bush, and so on. Unfortunately, our military is just pimped out to the Rothschild and Rockefeller, Soros, the evil ruling elite faction, extremism, to bleed and die for them to make more money. Well, basically to steal more money, steal more land, and steal more property. And I started about Julian Assange, and Gideon says this. You might not be able to march, you might not be able to get a platform together or do a viral video or whatever, but everybody can hang a sign in their window.